to thank Memorial for inviting me to this press conference. I'm a very old acquaintance of Alexander Cherkasov. We first met in Chechnya probably in 2000 with Oleg Orlov, and I've been constantly discussing and cooperating with Memorial for all these years. And it was really heartbreaking news for me when I first found out of this initiative in the government to close down Memorial, which I think is an absolute tragedy. Obviously a small one compared to the tragedy going on today in Ukraine, but still a real serious blow for freedom and civil society in Russia. And the main thing I want to say is that my message for our students, as we saw in Putin's speech the night before he started the invasion, this completely crazed revisionist speech he gave about his so-called justification for his coming attack. It was a completely revisionist speech. He was rewriting the history of Ukraine. He was completely inventing his idea. Probably he actually believed of the last sovereignty of Ukraine, of the history of Ukraine, how Ukraine came to be formed, and so forth. And this is just part of a much more global and wider thing he's been doing for many, many years, but also rewriting Russian history, rehabilitating Stalin, putting the emphasis on victories of World War II, erasing the killings of Kurds and the Holodomor in Ukraine, and so forth. So revisionism of history has been an integral part of his campaign to achieve full power in Russia, to suppress dissent, to suppress opposition, and now to invade neighboring countries. Memorial in Russia has been one of the strongest voices, not just criticizing him, this is all part of one context. It does not want facts in history. It wants his myth, information, Russian history to be the The only other thing I would like to say, which I think is an important point that should be made, is I'm extremely happy for the conference because I think it's incredibly important for the Ukrainian people today to understand that this is not an attack by Russia from Ukraine. This is an attack by the Putin regime from Ukraine. That in Russia there are many, many, many people who do not support this war, who are against this war, who are against their government, although they have been completely suppressed in terms of their ability to express that dissent democratically and legally. I was very impressed to see that over 1,500 people were arrested yesterday for going down the streets in Russia protesting against this illegal and murderous conflict. And so I think the fact that we're doing this, that Memorial is putting its voice out there together with the people in the streets, is incredibly important. In 1968, a year after I was born, the Soviet Union invaded Czechoslovakia. And when that happened, 7 people came down on Red Square and held a very small manifestation, which was immediately suppressed. They were arrested, they went to jail. Nobody saw this, there were no photos, but still word of it got out. And it was an incredibly important symbol that not everybody in the Soviet Union was agreeing with the horrible actions of their government. And today, protests in Russia are much larger. They would be much larger if they were legal, but they're still quite large. Ukraine and Russia are going to have to live together for a very long neighbors. And when this horrible war is over, one way or the other, or I can change. Maybe this will be a bridge for the future, for what happens in the next phase for what it's been doing. Thank you.